Hello, hello. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani and Jerry Usher. And he's back today. We're just getting his audio connected. So I'm going to go ahead and just say hello to all of you and welcome you to Take Two. This is where we take a look at ourselves and the world around us. And today we're focusing on unique marriages. And we've already gotten so many comments about it because we post the show ahead of time just so you could start praying about it and getting, kind of prepared to see if you want to call in. And here's the number, 1-800-585-9396. We're talking today about what makes your marriage, your union, unique. Now, we know opposites attract, but can that be for the long term? We know that some people get together and they're extremely different in their behaviors and the way even they grew up. Maybe you came from divorced parents and your spouse came from a mom and dad that was married for 50 plus years. Well, that's my situation. My parents were married for, I think, 57 years before my dad passed away. And Marty, my husband, he came from divorced parents. And so that presents a unique situation in our marriage. Also, too, I don't like to put labels on it, but I know some people are extroverts and introverts. That's what they say. I don't like the labels only because it kind of keeps people boxed in and they can't really change and grow. And so in my situation, I guess you would categorize me as an extrovert, and Marty's more reserved. He's more of an introvert. If you meet him, he's a man of few words, except if you get him talking about real estate or investing, because that he's been in for over 35 years. And so, of course, he talks and talks and talks. He loves that. But that's what makes our marriage unique. We want to hear what makes your marriage special and unique. What the difference is. How do you celebrate the differences? How do you make it just a beautiful, fruitful experience in the household because of the uniqueness? So unique marriages is what we have today. We already got the phone lines filling up. I know we have a lot to say about this because all of our marriages, when we are in our homes, I know we're thinking to ourselves, are there other marriages like this? I mean, is mine the only one like this? Well, that's why we're talking about it, because where are you going to talk about it? But you can on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, 1-800-585-9396, or you can text us. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. You wait for a response, and then you put your first name in, your question or your comment, and we'll be happy to put it into the discussion. Again, I just wanted to share, Jerry is with us. I can actually see him on Skype, but we're getting his audio hooked up, and so he's back with us today, which I'm so glad because he missed a really great show yesterday, and we had a lot of wonderful comments that came in. So please know that we are reading your emails and your comments. We're going to try to get back to them in a timely manner. It's a good problem to have. We're getting a lot of feedback from our listeners, and that's great. And Jerry and I are trying to think of ways to keep the conversation going via Facebook or some other platform where we can just keep those wonderful, unique discussions that we're having during the show, the brief hour. We're trying to keep it going. So think about that, pray about that. If you have any good suggestions, maybe email us at take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. Okay, so phone lines, wow, are lighting up. Here, you can get in. There's an open phone line, 1-800-585-9396. We're talking about unique marriages today. So we want you to share what makes your marriage unique, but what makes it special. I want to kind of change it from unique to special because it is special. It's yours. It's your marriage. It's a beautiful, holy sacrament of matrimony, and it's yours. So tell the world today what makes your marriage very special. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're so glad you're with us, and we'll be right back. We're going to go right to the phones. John is waiting in Colorado, so we're going to go to John and hear what makes his marriage unique.
This is Life Issues with Brad Mattis, president of Life Issues Institute.
Planned Parenthood claims women will die without their services and that nobody can replace them. They claim the legitimate health care centers serving poor families, the ones outnumbering Planned Parenthood 23-1, couldn't handle the patient overflow. While Planned Parenthood has cornered more than a third of the abortion market, their HIV and Pap testing are both about 1%. Comparatively speaking, Planned Parenthood has twice the percentage of market share of abortion than General Motors does of the auto industry, twice what Walmart has of the grocery market, nearly twice the markets of Samsung and Southwest Airlines, and almost 3 times the comparative market share of United Healthcare. Planned Parenthood is all about abortion.
Like us on Facebook at Life Issues and stay informed, more informed than you've ever been.
Missing Catholic radio in your area? Heed God's call to get involved and start a Catholic radio station. Contact Jack Williams, 205-795-5756, or email jwilliams@ewtn.com.
Third Millennium Media presents Debbie Georgianni.
The world tells us not to be merciful, and we as Catholic Christians are called to take a step back and look at it in a different way. We must practice mercy, especially if we want to receive mercy.
Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, wants to visit your parish retreat or conference. Invite Debbie Georgianni today online at thirdmillenniummedia.com.
This is Colleen Kelly Mast.
Hello, this is Archbishop Charles J. Chaput, the Archbishop of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
This is Catherine Seltner, host of EWTN Pro-Life Weekly. Thanks for listening to EWTN Radio.
Wow, we knew you would have a lot to say about this topic. Phone lines are just ablaze, and that's great. So when a line becomes open, please jump in at 1-800-585-9396. This is your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. This is where you drive the show. So what you have to say can change another marriage, can change another heart, can change another soul. That's what this is all about. It's a peer ministry. We lock arms together and get closer to God together. So remember that when you're listening to Take Two. It really has a purpose. John, you were first up. You get our First Up virtual award, John, in Colorado, listening on EWTN.com. Welcome, John, to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, just fantastic. I'm so glad I'm on the air. I wanted to share our special marriage that I think everyone in the world should have. And when we met, my wife had just turned Catholic, and I'm cradle Catholic. And we got married in the second oldest church, St. Mary's in Los Angeles. And we obey all the rules of the Catholic Church on birth control, natural birth control, and we go to confession. We go to church every Sunday and weekly mass if we can. We're 17 miles from the nearest church, and we tell everybody that our marriage is so strong that 2 D10 Caterpillar tractors could not pull us apart. And everyone in the world should just have these simple understanding of holy matrimony. And they have the strongest marriage. And so many people we talk to, especially if they're not Catholic, they're not open to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, John, to kind of put it simply, you followed the church rules, and that gave you the beautiful freedom to have a beautiful, fruitful marriage. Is that kind of what I'm hearing you say?
Exactly. It's freedom from slavery to sin.
Wow. Jerry, do we have you on?
We do, yeah.
Yes.
I think I'm here.
You are good. Okay, Jerry, so John was just sharing about just following the beautiful teachings of the church, and in his marriage it just comes alive. It's beautiful. But John, you shared that you said you talked to other people that aren't Catholic or maybe not open to following some of God's rules or God's guidelines, if you will.
Yes.
And they're kind of trapped maybe?
Well, see, they're in their I met this lady in Durango near us, and she's been through 3 marriages. Her last husband was a pedophile, and she was on her way to a date to find a 4th husband. And I explained the Catholic faith to her, and hopefully she's going to early morning Mass with me Friday before I fight the abortions in Durango, Colorado. And she and other people, we have tenants that are in their 2nd, 3rd marriage, and they're not open to coming to Mass with us or anything. And we tell them the statistics. It's like a 0.5% divorce for people that, are Catholic, go to church, got married in the church, are in holy matrimony, follow the natural birth control, and Eucharistic adoration is real special. We try to both do it every week, an hour of Eucharistic adoration.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, Debbie, I heard you mention earlier that you were shifting the focus a little bit from what makes your marriage unique to what makes it special. And I think I would guess that most of our listeners probably fall into this category, but when a marriage is sacramental, of course, it is very, very special, and we would want that for everybody. And so, John, it's beautiful that you're evangelizing in the realm of marriage and family, which is really, of course, one of the central, it's really a core area of our faith and of life in general, human life. And so, John, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for that work that you're doing, and thank you for being out there and standing up for the unborn babies as well. That's a great witness.
Yes, absolutely. John, you were the perfect first call for today's show. Thank you for that. And God bless you in your ministry. Okay, Pat, you're up next in Michigan, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Pat. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi. Thank you for having my call. I'm sorry.
No, I just said thank you for calling. Go ahead.
I've been married 43 years this year. We were married in the Catholic Church, even though my husband was Baptist. He went along with my beliefs. He supported everything that I've done. He's come from a very abusive family, and my family is very supportive and have been together. My parents were married over 50 years. So it's been very special for us because he supports my beliefs. He supports me going to church every week and whenever I can get there, because our church is like 25 miles from here. We live in a very small town. I've raised my children Catholic, and he supported that, which was very special for me. So he's been there through my bad health and everything else like that, and he's taken very good care of me. I can't complain.
Wow. What did you say, 43 years, Pat?
Mm-hmm.
43 years this year, yes.
Good. Well, I see we've got Gary, who I think has you beat by a couple of years, which is beautiful, but 43 years, wow, that is just fantastic. And really to hear the grace of the sacrament certainly has been at work in your marriage, in your relationship. You mentioned that your husband came from an abusive home. Obviously, the fact that he's not necessarily a Catholic, still it was a sacramental marriage. You were married in the church. And, he, I'm sure, has his faith. And so the Holy Spirit has been the glue that has just bound you together all of these beautiful, beautiful years. And so, Debbie, I think it's just, another great story.
I agree, Pat. I just love it. And you said that your husband coming from the Baptist faith, he's very obviously maybe Scripture well-versed. And that always can enhance the marriage, especially. I know that my husband... he was baptized Catholic, but then went into a non-denominational faith for 20 years, and he became very schooled in the Bible, and it really did change the dynamic of our relationship when he came back into the Catholic faith, because he knew Scripture, and it was wonderful. So it really can enhance that, and I don't know if you've tapped into those special areas, Pat, but sometimes people think, well, a Baptist and a Catholic, maybe it's not going to work, but I actually think it could really be very fulfilling. What do you think, Pat?
He is. He's very spiritual. I wish he would change to Catholic, but this is what he believes, and we don't argue about it, which makes it a very nice thing. But he supports the way I believe, and I support the way he believes, and we just work it together.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah, Pat, the fact that you've had that ability to make it work and support one another, I think is helpful. It doesn't always work out that way, and that's unfortunate. But it takes, again, unique and special people to make your marriage work. And it sounds like it's been very, very fruitful for you and for your husband and for your kids. So thanks for sharing what you did. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat. God bless you for that. Okay, next up is Gary. He is in New York, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Gary. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Gary. Okay.
Do we have Gary with us?
You know Gary? Okay,
right.
we're gonna hold him for a second. Okay.
We'll check back with him.
Okay. Maybe Gary's trying to add up because he said he's 45 years. He wants to make sure he's definitely over Pat.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, Melinda in Texas, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Melinda. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi. My name is Melinda. I'm from Pecan Gap, Texas, and I heard the topic of the show and felt the calling to call in and share my story. My husband and I are both from broken homes. Both our fathers were out of our lives before we were, I think, 8 years old. Single mom homes, not much of a faith background. I was Catholic by name. We went on Christmas and Easter. We met in high school, so we're high school sweethearts. We've been married 20 years, and we had our first child when we were 16, and we have 10 children by the grace of God. Our youngest is 3 weeks old on Thursday. Our oldest is 20, going on 21, and if it wasn't for God's grace, we probably would have never had our first child. That probably wouldn't have ended very well had we listened to people, but by the grace of God and God only did He keep us together and bring forth 10 beautiful more children whom we are raising in the church and abiding by the church's teachings. And I just want to share that for all you young people and even older people, if you just let the Catholic Church be your roadmap, allow it to be your navigation system, God will lead you where you need to be, because there's no other answer outside of what has helped us be where we are at and attain goals and achieve the things that we've been able to achieve. It's only been by His grace and by His blessings. And so I always like to tell people, we use our smartphones for navigation and Google Maps for navigation. Allow the church to be your navigation system. The roadmap is there. You just have to be prayerful and attend Mass, at least weekly. If you can go more, that's great. Of course, with our situation, we can't, being that we're quite busy with 10 children. But we look forward to the day that we can go to daily Mass and give more. But we do pray every night as a family, which has been another huge blessing. And I'm just grateful for God's blessings, and it's doable. Just stay faithful.
Wow. Melinda, I am just, first of all, I wrote down, allow the church to be your navigation system. May we borrow that? That is absolutely phenomenal, what you just said. That's the first thing. The second thing is 10 children, high school sweethearts. You two have just a beautiful, like Jerry likes to say, your sacrament is showing. It's so wonderful to hear you speak and how you praise the church and the church's teachings to give you that beautiful, wonderful, fruitful life that you have. The blessings are flowing in your household. I can feel it. And Melinda, wow, I don't know what other word to use, but it's extraordinary, your situation. Jerry?
Yeah, and Melinda, I'm curious. You mentioned you and your husband both come from broken homes. I do too as well, and oftentimes, that can kind of perpetuate itself. We hear that it can be, not always, but it can be a challenge for those who have experienced some brokenness in their families to maintain a marriage and hold that together. Do you have any? You mentioned other than just really being plugged into the church and your faith so much. Any words of wisdom that you can share for others who might be listening right now who are thinking, boy, I don't know if I can make a go of that?
Yes, most certainly. First and foremost, I'm going to reiterate the church being the foundation, because that's where the strength and the wisdom and the knowledge and everything that you need to get by comes from. But secondly is just we can spend a lot of time looking back on what went wrong and what we wish, could have been different or better. In our case, with 10 children, that would be so much time wasted, and we don't know what tomorrow brings. And so if you live every day like you don't know whether tomorrow is going to come or not, then that kind of pushes you to just want to make the most of your time and live going forward, wanting better and doing better rather than dwelling. And so, you make that difference. Don't allow the difference to make you, in that the childhood being, not what you would have wanted, but just make that difference in your children and in your life going forward.
Yeah, overcome is the word that comes to my mind right there.
Definitely. You want to overcome those challenges by doing, and doing what will make, in our case, our lives better, not just for one or for two, but for 12 people, 10 children, and then my husband and I. And so definitely just trying to strive to overcome that. But again, the foundation of that is having God in your life. If you don't have God in your life, then you're going to have a hard time finding that strength and that knowledge and everything else that you need to overcome whatever your obstacle is, whether it is coming from a broken home or any other challenges that you come across or encounter.
Incredible.
Very nice.
Melinda, wow, we do need a home run virtual award. If we get this, you got it, Melinda, you got the home run. That is your story. I could listen to you all day long, and I hope you continue to spread your story to others, because you can definitely be an inspiration to others. I hope you gave us permission to use the church to be your navigation system. You did, right, Melinda?
Most definitely, and if I can just give a shout-out to my amazing husband, it wouldn't be possible without him. He has a birthday on Friday, so happy birthday, Drew. Love you.
Happy birthday, Drew. We all love you. Okay, Melinda, you got to do it. You have 10 children. Can you run down their names real fast?
Yes, Isaiah, Darius, Jaden, Gabriella, Omari, Noah, Sophia, Sebastian, Luke, and Zoe.
Love it. Wow. Amazing family. God bless you. Keep in touch with us. We want to journey with your maybe you could invite us to like a Christmas gathering or something.
Of course.
like they need more people there, Debbie.
Yeah, that's true.
No, really, the more the merrier. You'll love Pecan Gap.
Thanks, Melinda.
Thank you. God bless you. Thanks for calling. You totally brightened our day. Wow. That's a great story. Great witness. Okay, so do we have time? Do we have time for one more? Oh, we do. Go ahead. We're just going through them so quickly. This is great. I just love all the calls. Okay, Mary Lou, Syracuse, New York, EWTN.com. Hi, Mary Lou. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. This is, Mary Lou from Syracuse. And, wow, I'm just kind of awestruck by what Melinda said and all the stories that you've been interviewing. So I hope I can just share a little bit. I was kind of touched and moved with, I would say what I'm going to share would be dedicated to my wonderful husband, his name is Martin. And when you told me that your husband's name was Marty, I thought that was really touching. We've been happily married for 31 years. I was brought up Catholic, and Martin was brought up Presbyterian. So hopefully what I'm going to share will inspire other people that come from different backgrounds, that you can still have a wonderful marriage. But it was really the Eucharist that brought me back into the Catholic Church, and my mom's prayers and her rosaries. And Martin is still, after I came back over 20 years ago back to the Catholic Church, thanks be to God, Martin supported me because we were going to a Protestant church for a while. And he hasn't felt like, changing, but he's very devoted in his own prayer life and his faith. And just like what Melinda said, God comes first in our marriage. And Martin also had a wonderful, active life growing up in the Presbyterian Church. And so we both have that together. And I would say the key thing in our marriage also is love and forgiveness. And we have two wonderful sons. They're in their early 20s. But I also, over the last 18 years or so, I had to go through two brain surgeries and spinal cord surgeries. And, of course, when you go through struggles, things, I found that always, when you go through pain and suffering, that always brings you closer to your faith. And my husband, Martin, has always been so wonderful and supportive. But I was brought up by a disabled father who passed away about 45 years ago, and he taught me so much because he was a great dad and had great faith, and God bless him. But my mom is still alive. She's 91, and so their testimony, even though my dad I didn't have him for very long, he inspired me. So I hope this can inspire other people to not give up on their marriage and to give them strength and always turn to God. So,
beautiful. Mary Lou, hold the line for just a minute there. And Matthew and Ann and the others, we're going to get to all of you. What's unique about your marriage is our conversation today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. More with Mary Lou in just a minute.
Most men will do almost anything to avoid deep theological discussions. Well, you don't need a doctorate in theology to listen to and enjoy the Catholic Cafe. Join me, Deacon Jeff Drzymski, along with my trusty sidekick Tom Dorian, as we try and make manly sense out of living the Catholic faith.
The Catholic Cafe, Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern and Sundays at 5 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Live truth, live Catholic.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN Bookmark Brief. I'm speaking here with Denise Bossert. I just finished an interview on her book, Gifts of the Visitation. 9 Spiritual Encounters with Mary and Elizabeth is the title. So tell us, Denise, what's this book about?
Well, the Visitation, I believe, is a blueprint for evangelizing. Our Lady makes it look like it's what we're born to do, because it is what we're born to do. And we discover from her that the first thing she does after receiving our Lord is to go and share him with her relative Elizabeth. So she is the Christ sharer, the Christ bearer, and she calls us too, upon receiving the Eucharist, to be sent out, to go out and share and bear Christ.
Thank you so much, Denise Bossert. The book is Gifts of the Visitation, 9 Spiritual Encounters with Mary and Elizabeth, published by Ave Maria Press, available through the EWTN Religious Catalog, EWTNRC.com. Look for the entire interview coming soon to EWTN on Bookmark, and this has been an EWTN Bookmark Brief, and thanks for joining us.
Welcome to EWTN's Catholic Almanac.
Today is August 30th. On this day in 1884, Pope Leo XIII issued the encyclical Superiore Anno, urging all the faithful to pray the Rosary for the Church. Also today, the Church honors Saint Fiacre, a 7th century monk. He was promised all the land around which he could dig a trench in one day. Wherever he touched his spade to the ground, a trench miraculously appeared. The land was used for a monastery and garden.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. And I want to give my sincere thanks to Mark Voris and Jim Carroll, and I don't dare start naming all the names at Spirit Catholic Radio in Omaha and throughout Nebraska and parts of Iowa, where I am broadcasting the show today. Thanks for their great help in getting us connected. And Debbie and I are talking today about what's unique about your marriage. And this could be anything. Maybe you are 6'5" and your wife is 4'8". Maybe that's a uniqueness about your marriage. Maybe there's an age gap. Maybe there's a faith difference. Maybe there's an education difference. Maybe you're a dad who stays at home with the kids and, your wife works. Just share your take on this. What is unique and really special about your marriage, and what's made it work? What have you done to really kind of just really celebrate the differences, the uniqueness, but also the things you have in common? 1-800-585-9396. And Debbie, Mary Lou, again, we may have to divide up that home run award today because she's another great call.
I agree. And Mary Lou, I just love how you spoke, how you're actually talking about Martin, your husband. I think it's so wonderful and respectful, and how you said, you went through, and by the way, when you said you went through several surgeries, our hearts go out to you. I mean, that's a tough road to have to endure. And, it does I think I can speak from experience on this. It does make it a tiny bit easier when you have that loved one next to you who's going to journey with you, like Martin did with you, and you can make it. You feel like you have there's a future and you have hope because you have that loved one pulling for you in times when you maybe aren't able to pull for yourself. And it sounds like you have this wonderful synergy between the two of you, and just a beautiful, healthy love and respect. I love how you said, forgive quickly. Forgiveness is key. And I think what you have to say, we all can benefit from. We need to hear these things on a daily basis because we know marriage is under attack. We know that Satan wants to destroy it. So we have to constantly hear of the different elements that work. And in your marriage, you have some beautiful foundational principles that are working. Did I hear it correctly? What your story?
Yes, Debbie. I think so. And I'm also was inspired by hearing all the other people that shared their stories first. So that was really, really kind of helpful to kind of give me an idea of what I was going to say. But yeah, I would say whatever when I'm sharing a little bit of a testimony, that it would give hope to other people, other marriages that sometimes they feel like, things are, really tough. And, it's not like Martin and I are perfect by all means. We know our faults and failings every day, but you learn from that. And as long as you, don't let the sun go down without forgiving one another, and that's like it is a foundation of love, is forgiveness. Even if you come from different backgrounds. And I'm really grateful, though, looking back at my own father, that he passed away, like I mentioned, it was 45 years ago. I was 11 when he died. But he went through so much. When you talk about pain and suffering, he went through so many disabilities and surgeries and things like that when I was little, that he had tremendous faith. And that's where we learn from our parents. We learn, if we're blessed enough to have, I was blessed to, and like I said, my mom is 91. I still have her, I'm still very close to her, and it's all of her prayers, and I think it's her prayers that brought me back into the church. But Martin is also wonderful, and, just going through difficult things. Yes, I had something called, Carrie malformation. I was diagnosed with that after I had our second son when he was young, but it was through going through pain and suffering. I looked back at what my dad went through, and I thought, and I didn't understand it then. But then, just God takes us through little steps at a time, and through difficult circumstances that think, oh wow, we can't do that. Just go back to prayer, go back to God, because that's where you can have everything renewed. And then it was, of course, it's been the sacraments and the beautiful sacraments of the church. And our sons were little when I came back into the church, but Martin said, please go back to the Catholic Church, let's bring our sons up Catholic. And I'm so grateful to him for that. And when we come to church, it's so funny because he's really, even though he doesn't receive communion, he's so reverent. He's so beautiful, and but he's so supportive, and he comes to church with us every week. And I'm so grateful to him. That's why this call, I would say, is dedicated to my husband, because so thankful to him. And for all my surgeries, because I had to go out of town 3 times for 3 of my surgeries.
Oh, wow.
And, actually, 3.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but it brings, sometimes if you allow God to work, to keep that third person, which is the Trinity and the Lord in the marriage, and go to Him for strength, He does bring hope and healing in a marriage. That's why if for whatever I said today can help bring hope and healing to marriages, and for people not to give up, and
Absolutely.
And to forgive. And really, that is a fundamental key, is forgiveness. And also, we have the beautiful sacrament of penance, reconciliation, and that was beautiful, because after 20 years when I went to confession, it was just like, wow, it just brought in the graces then after I received communion. and that is so key. So I hope I wanted to just share something short and sweet.
Absolutely, Mary Lou.
I hope that made sense, Debbie. Did that make sense?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Jerry has something to say, but before he says it, because I just want to put because I have the book, I have the prayer book. I want to put your mom, your 91-year-old mom, in our prayer book. Can we have her first name?
Sure. Her name is Marion. It's Marion.
Got it.
She's just been a real blessing. And she's gone through so much. She's actually a miracle. She went through something too. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we got her in the book. We have you in the book as well, so you can have continued strength and healing. And in fact, all the calls today, we're putting them all in the book because we're just uplifting the sacrament of marriage and the families, and we put Melinda's all 10 children in. So.
And
just
so you know, Bill is in the Navy, and he's abroad right now, so pray for his safety. And then David is in school, so he's in college. Thank you.
You got it. Jerry?
Yeah, thanks, Mary Lou. I just wanted to say it sounds like Martin is more Catholic than maybe a lot of Catholics are in his, like you said, his reverence at Mass and so forth. But just I zeroed in on what you said. We learn from our parents. So please, anyone, if you have a family, if you have your kids, please realize that. Your kids' eyes, their hearts, they're locked in on you. They are laser focused on your words, your actions, and everything. And Mary Lou, you gained some invaluable lessons from your father's suffering, which I'm sure came back to you and helped you in your own suffering. And so let's all remember that, those who are raising kids, and just realizing that everything that we say and do, it's forming them, it is shaping them. So thanks, Mary Lou. We appreciate your call.
They're sponges.
More than you know. Yeah.
They're sponges. Kids are sponges.
Okay, we're going to go to Matthew next, listening in Anchorage, Alaska, on Anchorage Catholic Radio. Hi, Matthew. You're up next on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about unique and special marriages. So what do you have to share, Matthew? Hi there.
Hey, good morning. I just wanted to share a little bit about my marriage. It's pretty unique. My wife and I just celebrated our 10th anniversary, but we met in college in California, working at a kids' summer camp. We were both going to college to be teachers. She's from Russia and grew up there and was spending her summers in California working. And we met, fell in love, got married, and now we live up in Anchorage, Alaska, where she got a job teaching in a Russian immersion elementary school. And I got hired at that same Russian immersion elementary school because I'm a teacher as well, teaching music. So we now work together, and our oldest daughter is in first grade and is in her classroom this year. And at home, she only speaks Russian to our two girls. So we have a bilingual house, which is pretty unique. And she grew up in the Soviet Union, where religion wasn't exactly promoted. But she was still baptized Orthodox, and we're lucky in Anchorage here that we have a Byzantine Catholic church, which is sort of a mix of, Eastern Rite and Roman Catholic. And so we found a happy medium going to church there, and I don't know, things are going well. We just had our 10th anniversary. So,
wow, congratulations!
Thank you.
It's got to be. It just has to be a really. I would say the word "cool" is coming to mind. I don't know if that's the right word, but being in that bilingual home, especially with something like Russian, are you pretty good? Are you rather fluent, Matthew, yourself, or?
I understand it very well, and I can read it, but I can't talk about my feelings or anything besides I'm hungry or
technical stuff, but not a lot of nuance. Yeah,
right. I understand all the stuff that a mother would say to a 6 and a 4-year-old. So, but it's pretty cool. Not only do we get to speak Russian at home, but we have Anchorage has a Russian immersion elementary school, and so our kids get to do Russian at school as well. And
nice.
It's 2 blocks from our house, and we walk to work every day. So
wow, so you get to work together as well.
Yeah,
nice,
yeah, pretty nice.
Matthew, what I'm hearing in you, and tell me if I'm right on this. You're very grounded in your faith, or you're grounded in your relationship with God. I love that about you, because you being the head of the household and a beautiful family that you have. Those principles are going to spill over into your family, and it's just going to carry on. And I'm sensing that. Have you always had that? You seem like you have a real strong faith.
Yeah, what the previous caller said, and what Jerry was saying, how parents or kids don't miss anything. Both Olga and myself grew up. Our parents have both been married over 35 years, and I went to Catholic school and everything, and definitely got good examples from our parents, and we hope to pass it on to our kids. So.
That's wonderful. Wow, Matthew, awesome. Well, blessings to you and your beautiful family. We entered your whole family into our prayer book as well, so we'll be lifting you up in prayer and supporting your beautiful vocation of marriage. And how cool it is to work with your wife. I think that is awesome. So way to go, Matthew. I love Alaska, by the way. I have to tell you, you have the most beautiful trees I've ever seen in my life. So...
Yeah, I've been to 42 states and about 5 countries, and there's nothing quite as beautiful as here.
Wow. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Matthew, for the call. We appreciate it so much. 800-585-9396. Take EWTN with you anywhere you go, folks. There is no barrier. Well, as long as you have phone or internet service. There's no barrier any longer. The walls have been taken down. You can listen to EWTN or watch EWTN television anywhere with the app on your phone. Debbie and I both have it. I use it often. EWTNapps.com is where you can get that news. You can get program schedules, prayers, devotionals, the truth in life, audio Bible, and so much more. So download it at EWTNapps.com.
Nice. Gary, you're back in Darien Lakes, New York, listening on the Station of the Cross. Hi, Gary. We were wondering where you went to, so we're glad you're back. Welcome. Hi, Gary.
How are you, Debbie?
Doing well. How are you?
I am great. The one thing I wanted to share, and that's missing so much today. I'm 78 years old. Fortunately, I don't even take an aspirin. I outwalk most people, so I am incredibly blessed as far as my health. And I had grandparents that were in their hundreds, and my mom was 98, and so on and so forth. So I can't even pay back enough. But in as much that you've got 65% of failed marriages, there's a reason for it. Everything today is, we need it now, especially the generation that I'm looking at, my granddaughters, my grandkids. They want to now, there's very little work ethic that, fortunately, I taught my daughters. I've got 3 daughters, and I taught them not only work ethic, but honesty and all these other values. Now, I have to say, and maybe you wish not to hear this, but that's just the way I feel. My background is strict Roman Catholic. I was born and raised in Holland. Came over here when I was 16 years old in 1955. And one of my mother's sisters was a nun. So I know everything there is to know. However, today, I go to church not very often. I didn't go to church very often with my daughters. I taught them faith. Faith transcends all religions, and it doesn't make any difference what. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at beautiful trees. I'm in my motorhome that we travel in and live in. I sold my house and all that. And I am as much a part of God as anyone else. I don't need to go into church every Sunday. Hey, look at me, I'm the local grocer. See how good a Catholic I am. There's a lot of phony stuff going on out there. I think what we need to be grounded to the point where, trust and respect is one thing that my wife and I have had for, 44 years. First 5 years were pretty rocky. But without trust and respect, and when you earn those, and that's what a lot of people forget, is that you earn those. You don't demand them. You don't ask for them. You earn those. And once you have that, then friendship is possible. Then all things are possible. Without that, at least to me, I'm a simple-minded guy. Nothing is possible.
Gary, let me offer just a couple thoughts here. First of all, thank you for your beautiful heart. I mean, I love the fact that you really are sensitive to God's presence in everything and in all people and in nature and so forth. God is everywhere. God created everything, and He is really in all things, not in a pantheistic sense as some people would understand that. But I think Debbie and I, we would be negligent if we didn't just simply offer our thoughts on something you were saying there as far as, gathering together and going to Mass and so forth. I'm sure you're aware that the church places an obligation on us, and I'm not sure what your understanding of that is, but it's certainly rooted in Scripture. Hebrews 10:25 talks about some who have forsaken the assembly of, gathering together and so forth. And so there's a reason why the church, requires that we gather together. It's for our sake. It's not so, God doesn't need us to gather together, but we do. We need to have those reminders, first of all. That's just one reason, those reminders of who God is and who we are, and gather to worship Him in gratitude for all that He has done for us. And I believe that we need the support of one another as well, to be connected to that faith community, to of course, represent the sacrifice of Jesus as the Bible and the church teach us to do so. So I'm not trying to be confrontational with you, Gary, but just maybe offering a couple thoughts there on why the church would require that of us. And Debbie, I don't know if you got anything you want to add to that, but
no, you did it just well. I would love to hear Gary's response to you, Jerry. Gary, what do you think what Jerry had to say?
I don't think that is at all confrontational. Matter of fact, very, very, very seldom anything I hear, to me, as I receive as confrontational. I receive it as an absolute chance to give my opinion, give my viewpoint, share my experiences during my life, and so on, in an open and honest way, and thereby I touch a lot of people. Like I say, we travel in our motorhome all over this great nation of ours, and I know the difference coming from another country and so on and so forth. So I'm eternally grateful and appreciative of where I am and what I have now. I mean, I came from nothing. We had nothing,
Right.
So, yeah, it's been a great trip.
Good. Well, Gary, you're going to be in our prayers. Again, you sound like just a great man, and happy that you have just a beautiful marriage now going on close to 50 years, like you said. And we would just ask that as you lift your mind and heart to God, you would keep Debbie and me and Take Two in your prayers, and everybody at EWTN Radio. And like I said, we promise you our prayers as well. Thanks for calling. Debbie, we had an email. Thank you, Gary. A couple of emails here. Emily, I love this one. Emily says, hi, Jerry and Debbie. My marriage is unique because my husband and I dated for only 2 days before we got engaged. She says, I had spent my junior high and high school years discerning religious life. For 9 months, I lived at 2 different convents before discovering that wasn't my calling. My best friend of 4 years, who had supported me in my discernment, but unbeknownst to me was heartbroken each time I left, reconnected with me after I came home. After praying a novena to St. Therese and receiving a miraculous rose and a yes, I was supposed to marry my best friend. We quickly discovered how much we love each other. Wow. And so we are so grateful God brought us together, first as best friends, now as husband and wife. That's from Emily.
Very cool. Very cool. Did you have another one you want to share?
Yeah, another one let's see. Where is the other one here? This is from Sherry in Washington State.
Oh,
Sherry
cool.
says, these are Sherry's words.
Okay.
My young trophy husband is 11 years younger than I am. We used to think about it often, but now, after 23 years of marriage, I can honestly say I think entire years go by when we haven't thought about that fact at all. Once in a while, something will remind us how far apart, in quotes, we grew up. Most often, it'll be a song on the radio that one of us remembers from high school or college. We also run into moments of realization that his Catholic education was post-Vatican II. Mine at least began pre-Vatican II. Some pretty eye-opening discussions follow. All the best to you, Sherry in Washington State. So thanks, Sherry.
I love that. I love when we get the emails. It's just amazing. Sarah, okay, you've been waiting patiently in Indio, California. You're watching on YouTube, I presume. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call. So I wanted just to share about my husband and my marriage. Honestly, he is, to me and my son, a great example of a servant leader. From day one, he's always had me first. He's always put me first out of love. And then once we had our son, did the same for him. I mean, for example, the biggie for me was his calling to convert to Catholicism. I grew up in the Catholic faith. My parents took us to church every Sunday. We attended Catholic school, so I'm a cradle Catholic. My husband is not. And when we got together, I was clear with him that I didn't expect him to convert, and that if that was a decision that he wanted to make, through our marriage, then that's something I would respect. But it would be his decision. And so once our son was born, I had shared with him that I really wanted my son to be raised in the Catholic faith, and I wanted him to follow all of the Catholic tenets, including going to Mass on Sunday. We started going to Mass together at a church close to our home, a Catholic church. But as my son got a little bit older, I started working in restaurants, and so a lot of the time I wasn't able to make it to Mass on Sunday mornings. But surprisingly to me, I was at work one morning on a Sunday, and all of a sudden I got a text from my husband, and it was a photo of my son. Well, I recognized the background as being the church where we had been taking my son to Sunday Mass, and so kind of skeptical. I said, "Hey, where are you guys?" And he says, "Oh, well, we're at the church. We're at St. Elizabeth's." And it totally blew me away. And I had asked him later, I told him I was very impressed and very happy that he'd taken our son to Mass, but I asked him, what was it that compelled him to go? And his response was, excuse me, this gets me choked up. So sorry. But his response was, that he knew that it was important to me, and that's why he took our son to church, out of his love for me. Sorry, so sorry.
No, please don't be. Please don't be.
And so he continued to take our son. He continued to take our son to church, and it was through going to Mass on a weekly basis with my son that he said that he started to feel the calling to go and attend for himself. And so eventually he ended up saying that he wanted to convert to Catholicism, which was amazing. And so he went through the program and now has been a Catholic for several years. Our son just started his first year yesterday in 4th grade at our local Catholic school, the same one I went to. And so he's been wonderful in the sense that, he shows his love. He doesn't just say it, but he shows it through his respect of how important Catholicism and the faith has been in my life. And he's made it part of his as well. And so now, he's very involved. It's really neat because we have a lot of fun with the parents that we've become really great friends with at the Catholic school. And so, those guys will get together and they'll go go-kart racing and they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's been really nice because some of the fathers that are at the Catholic school are not Catholic. And it's been through that interaction with my husband, Scott, and the friendships that have been built that he's been able to really kind of be a guide for them.
Sarah, we have to go quickly. We have the music playing, but can you give us your husband's first name so we can send him an air hug, how wonderful he is?
Oh, sure. Yeah, his name is Scott.
Scott? Okay. Thank you, Sarah. I am so choked up for you. You don't have to be choked up anymore. That was a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing it. Jerry?
Yeah, Sarah, there's something I'd like to follow up with you about. If you get a chance, email take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com. Take2 at EWTN.com. Jenny in New Jersey and the others wish we had time for you, but we have another show coming your way tomorrow. Until then, we hope and pray that you will have a beautiful and blessed day.